Julian's right eye gave a tiny, almost invisible twitch. It was the same twitch he'd had since he was 6 years old whenever he tried to hide a broken vase or a bad grade. Now, he was 42, wearing a $3,000 suit, and sitting across from me at the kitchen table. He was sliding a piece of paper toward me with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "It's just a formality, Mom," he said. "The doctor said your memory test was a little shaky. This just lets me help you with the house and the taxes." I looked at the paper, then I looked at the hidden camera I'd installed in the smoke detector 3 days ago. I knew Julian had been coming into my room at night to move my furniture and hide my glasses. He was playing a high-stakes game of psychological poker, and he had no idea that I had spent 30 years as the best pit boss the Mirage ever had. He thought he was playing against a confused old woman. He didn't realize he was sitting at a table with a shark who knew exactly when he was bluffing. "My name is Clara Vance. I am 70 years old, and before I retired, I ran the floor of some of the biggest casinos in Las Vegas. My job wasn't just about counting chips or watching the wheels spin. It was about reading people. I could spot a card counter from across a crowded room just by the way they tapped their fingers. I could tell if a dealer was skimming from the tray by the tilt of their head. In my world, everyone had a tell. A tell is a small, subconscious habit that gives away what a person is really thinking. Some people sweat. Some people talk too much. My son, Julian, twitched his right eye. When my husband, Frank, passed away, he left me this house and a very comfortable life. But more importantly, he left me a collection of rare, vintage watches that were worth more than the house itself. Julian knew about the watches. He had always been a big dreamer, with a short attention span. He'd started 3 different companies in 5 years, and they had all folded. Now, he was in deep. I'd seen the men in the black SUVs parked down the street. I knew he owed money to people who didn't care about formalities. The game began about 2 months ago. It started with small things. I'd put my keys on the counter, and 5 minutes later, they'd be in the freezer. I'd find the stove turned on in the middle of the night. Julian would come over the next morning and act shocked. "Mom, you have to be careful," he'd say, his voice full of fake worry. "Maybe you're starting to forget things. It happens at your age." He was trying to gaslight me. That's a term for making someone doubt their own sanity. He wanted a paper trail of my confusion, so he could have me declared incompetent. If I was incompetent, he became the executor of the estate. He could sell the house, sell the watches, and pay off his debts. But Julian forgot who raised him. He forgot that I had spent my life dealing with cheats, scammers, and professional liars. I didn't get scared. I got to work. I bought a set of wireless cameras that look like ordinary household objects. I put one in the kitchen, one in my bedroom, and one in the hallway. I also bought a digital voice recorder and tucked it into the cushions of the sofa where Julian liked to sit and talk to his business partners. The recordings were chilling. I heard my son talking to his wife, Monica. "The doctor will sign off on the evaluation if we can show 3 more incidents this week," he whispered. "I'll move the pictures in the hallway tonight. That always freaks her out. Once we get her into the assisted living center, we can have the watches appraised by Friday." Monica's voice was just as cold. "Make sure she's taking those pills I bought online. They'll keep her sleepy and slow." I looked at the vitamins Julian had been giving me every morning. I'm a woman who knows her way around a lab report. I took one of those pills to an old friend who worked in a pharmacy. "Clara," he said, shaking his head. "This is a heavy-duty sedative. It's meant for people with severe sleep disorders. If you take this every day, you won't know if it's Monday or Christmas." I didn't take the pills. I bought a bottle of identical-looking sugar tablets and swapped them out. For the next 2 weeks, I gave the performance of a lifetime. I would forget my own name for a second. I would walk into a room and stare at the wall as if I were lost. I let Julian see exactly what he wanted to see. I watched him through my hidden cameras as he sneaked into my room at 2 a.m. to move my clock 4 hours ahead. I watched him hide my cell phone in the laundry basket. Every time he did it, I recorded it. I was building a case file that would make a district attorney weep with joy. The climax happened on a Sunday afternoon. Julian had invited over a family friend, who was actually a private psychologist he had paid to evaluate me. They sat me down in the living room. The doctor was a man named Dr. Sterling. He had a soft voice and a clipboard. "Clara," he said, "Julian is very worried about you. He says you've been having some trouble with the house. Do you know what year it is?" I looked at Julian. His eye twitched. I looked at the doctor. I took a deep breath and let my bottom lip tremble. I think it's 1998, I whispered. "Is Frank coming home soon?" Julian leaned forward, his face full of triumph. "See, doctor? She's getting worse every day. It's just not safe for her here anymore." Dr. Sterling nodded and started writing on his clipboard. "I agree. It seems like a clear case of advanced cognitive decline. I'll prepare the papers for the 72-hour hold." That was the moment I stopped acting. I sat up straight, cleared my throat, and looked Dr. Sterling right in the eye. "Actually, doctor," I said, my voice as sharp as a fresh deck of cards, "it's 2026. It's 2:15 p.m. on a Sunday. And you are about to lose your medical license." The room went so quiet you could hear the dust falling. Julian's mouth dropped open. "Mom? What are you?" "Quiet, Julian," I said. "The adults are talking." I reached into the pocket of my cardigan and pulled out a tablet. I turned it around so they could see the screen. I hit play. The video showed Julian sneaking into the kitchen at 3 a.m., holding a bottle of pills. It showed him carefully swapping my real vitamins for the sedatives. Then, it played the audio from the sofa. "The doctor will sign off. Once we get her into the assisted living center, we can have the watches appraised." Dr. Sterling's face went white. I was told this was a standard evaluation. I didn't know about any of this." "I'm sure you didn't," I said. "But the police will be very interested in the consultation fee Julian paid you. I've already sent a copy of this video and the audio to my lawyer. And to the medical board." Julian tried to stand up, but his legs seemed to give out. "Mom, please. We were in trouble. Mark and his people. They were going to hurt us. You chose to hurt me instead," I said. "You chose to poison your own mother so you could pay off a gambling debt. You're a bad player, Julian. You always have been. You never knew when to fold." I told them that the police were already on their way. I told the doctor that if he left now and went straight to the police station to tell the truth, I might not sue him for every penny he had. He didn't wait. He grabbed his clipboard and ran out the front door so fast he almost tripped over his own feet. Julian sat there, his head in his hands. He looked small. He looked like the boy who had broken the vase, but this time, the vase was my heart, and there was no way to glue it back together. "What are you going to do?" he whispered. "I'm going to do what I should have done years ago," I said. "I'm going to let you face the consequences. I'm not signing those papers. I'm changing the locks. And I'm filing a restraining order. You have 10 minutes to get your things and leave. If you ever come back here, the police won't just be taking a statement. They'll be taking you to jail." Julian left. He didn't say goodbye. He didn't apologize. He just took his briefcase and walked out into the rain. I watched him go from the window, the same window where I used to watch him play in the yard. It hurt, but it was a clean kind of hurt. Like a surgeon cutting out a tumor. It's been 6 months since that day. Julian is currently in a structured repayment program, monitored by the court. He's working a regular job and living in a small apartment. He isn't allowed to contact me. Monica left him as soon as the money dried up, which didn't surprise me at all. She was never a long-term player. I still live in my house. But I'm not alone. I've started a senior protection workshop at the local community center. I teach people my age how to spot the tells of scammers and predatory relatives. I teach them about hidden cameras, about how to secure their medications, and about the importance of having a ghost line for emergencies. I call it the pit boss method. I've realized that being 70 isn't about fading away. It's about having 70 years of data. It's about knowing the game better than the people who think they can outplay you. My mind is sharp, my house is secure, and my watches are safely stored in a bank vault that Julian doesn't even know the location of. People ask me if I'm lonely. I tell them that I'm far too busy for that. I have a new group of friends, other retired casino workers and some former police officers. We meet once a week for a game of poker. We don't play for much money, but we play for keeps. We watch each other's backs. We are a community of sharks in a world that thinks we're just minnows. I am Clara Vance. I know how to read a bluff. I know how to spot a cheat. And I know exactly when to go all in. My life isn't over, it's just entered the final, most interesting round. And the best part? I'm the one dealing the cards. To any son or daughter who thinks their parents are an easy mark, look closely at their eyes. You might think you see confusion, but it might just be the reflection of the trap they've set for you. We built the world you live in. We know where the cracks are. And we know exactly how to close the door on you if you try to take what isn't yours. The house is quiet tonight, but it's a peaceful quiet. I sit at my kitchen table, the same table where Julian tried to scam me, and I pour myself a glass of iced tea. I look at the clock. It's 8 p.m., exactly the time it's supposed to be. I am Clara Vance, and I am the master of my own house. The game is over, the chips have been counted, and I've won. As I get ready for bed, I check my security monitors. Everything is green. The neighborhood is still. I think about Julian for a moment, and I hope he's learning how to play a fair game. But whether he does or not is no longer my problem. I've retired from being his safety net. Now, I'm just the woman who knows how to keep the house running. I turn off the lights, one by one. I don't need them to see. I know every inch of this place. I know where the floorboards creak and where the shadows hide. I am safe. I am strong. And I am finally free. Good night, world. The pit boss is resting, but she's always watching the floor.